So many times I've played the Dicey Descent game on Wii Party, and I thought to myself, what is that island in the background? It looks really familiar. And then I realised it looks an awful lot like Wuhu Island. Now, listen, I'm not meaning it looks like it does now. It looks like what must become Wuhu Island. Here's my theory. This island in the background of Dicey Descent is actually the prototype, or rather the proto-form, for Wuhu Island, Wii Sports Resort, Wii Fit, and other games. Let's get into the similarities between the two islands that I've noticed. And the best way to do that is to fly around the island in Wii Sports Resort. So let's get on with it. The first area I'd like to mention is the long beach area. Now, I've circled it here, and it does look quite similar in shape, at least to the sandy part. But you can see some of the islands aren't quite the same. Now, of course, that's expected. That could easily form that beach, I think. But some of the issue with this beach comes with the angle at which the village appears, because it seems to be a bit further apart than the actual Wuhu Island. I think that could be explained really with the way the island will change geographically over time. I think it could be reasonably assumed that this circled area will become the area where the village and the gate approach will appear. Next I want to talk about the definitely not a mountain, like Wii Sports always thinks it is, the volcano called Mount whatever that is. Now I think this area in the middle is what will become the volcano. It looks very different at the moment, which suggests to me that a large event is going to occur between this stage of the island and as we know it in Wii Sports Resort and so on. And this event will be powerful enough to also create the area where the lake is by the castle and the waterfall underneath it. Then we have this little area off to the side where in Wii Sports Resort we'll have the candle, or otherwise known as that lighthouse thing that's really tall. Now this area of land hasn't formed yet as far as I can see. It looks a little bit different, but at least you can see that the island does go around in that direction. So it could be reasonably assumed that with all the geographical processes going on, that will form this little lodge of land up in the air. And for my final section of similarities, you have this area here, which should become the few islands off the side by the beach. It doesn't quite look the same, because obviously these islands are further out from the island than it's shown in the circled region, but I think it could probably separate over those whatever number of years occur between the island I've identified as a proto-Wuhu island and the current one. But there is definitely an expectation that it could become those little islands off the side. Now of course there is a big difference between my proto-Wuhu island and the one in Wii Sports Resort, and that is this massive land that I've circled in the background on Dicey Descent. That is nowhere near Wuhu Island in any other edition of it. So what happens to that land? Does this break my theory? Well, land moves around quite often. Tectonic plates are, I'm not going to be a geography teacher, but basically land moves around because of the lava underneath it. And this sort of event can also lead to the creation of volcanoes. So even if it doesn't quite make sense, there's a sort of link between the volcano forming and the giant land moving away, or at least Wuhu Island moving away, that could be explained in a similar way to each other. And of course my focus is on the actual Wuhu Island, not the area around it. So in conclusion, I am fairly convinced that this island is Proto-Wuhu Island, or Wuhu Island Alpha, whatever you want to call it. If you want to discuss anything about why I might be wrong, or any other islands you've seen in the backgrounds of minigames that you're thinking of suspicious, tell me in the comments below. I'm excited to hear any thoughts you might have, and this has been Nick Talks Game. See you next time.